All right, let me know if you can hear me now. Same old problems, just a different day. Lions trade up to number 4. Let me know if you can hear me. Wasn't even planning on jumping on until I saw this. They're certainly delaying the crap out of this one, aren't they? So I'm busy getting prepared for the Billy Sims interview tomorrow morning. And I hear this as I'm out front trying to get all my microphones put together. And I'm like, what? I knew it. Like, I knew Brad Holmes was going to do this. I said it yesterday. They were going to trade up into the 4th round, make something happen. And I have no clue who we would even think about taking. So we've taken 2 corners. Is there an edge available? Because I really haven't been paying attention today. Looks like Gretchen Whitmer's coming out to release the pick here. Love the jacket. Wow. That is a nice jacket. What do you guys think? Edge rusher? We going to get one? Offensive lineman? I'm good with either. Better not say kicker. Even though we need one. Right. I don't know if you guys can hear the audio, but screw it. We'll play it. We're not monetizing this stuff anyway. Come on, Brad Holmes. Thanks, Jets. Thank you. Appreciate it. Who do we fleece today? Yeah, tackle the big guy from Canada. All right, or British Columbia. Nice pick. Way to go, Brad Holmes. Wow. What a massive human. Road grade city. I love it. Great job, Detroit Lions. You know what? The offense doesn't work without an offensive line, right? We know that. And the one thing I don't want to hear people say is Jared Goff doesn't work without an offensive line, because that can be said about the other 31 quarterbacks starting in the NFL. No quarterback is going to play without a good offensive line and play well. But to give Jared Goff an offensive line that is, absolutely probably the best in the NFL is just going to accentuate his play on the field and make him feel more confident. Opening up holes for players like Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery is exactly what we need to do to get this offense started. And we see it time and time again that I don't know yet, Donkey Kong. I have no idea what we gave up, but we've seen it time and time again that when our offense gets moving and we're able to run the ball, that's when we're able to really set the stage for play action pass. And once play action pass gets moving, this offense is unstoppable. So I'm super excited about this pick. Lions double down on the worst position last year for the Detroit Lions, which was the defensive backfield. And now we went heavy on offensive line with the largest human in the draft next to J.C. Latham. I mean, both those guys are just absolute, and Joe Alt, mammoth men, guys that are going to open up holes in this league for probably the next decade. So I love the pick. What do you guys think? Oh, we gave up a third next year. You know what? I'm not mad at it. So my question, I think it's a little heavy, but my question would be this. We gave up a third to move up, 4 or 5 spots. Now we just gave up a third to move up an entire round. So I think it was a good move. I'm not liking giving up all this future draft capital in these third rounds, but if you grab the right guy, that's all that matters. As long as they work out and they help this team win, that's just like Brad Holmes said yesterday. you can go and pick players all day. You can win March and April all day, right? It's easy to win headlines in the NFL. Winning football games is different, right? It takes a different breed of football player. It takes a different style of a coach. It takes a team environment that is built around culture and identity. And the Lions have it all. They have really done an excellent job over the last 3 seasons of putting their foot in the dirt and saying, enough's enough. This is who we are. This is who we're going to be. You either jump on and join us, right? Join the bandwagon, or you don't. And if you don't, sorry for you, because we're going to go and win games. And I think that we saw that last year. Finally, we had a first taste of success in 30 plus years in Detroit. And now we're going to possibly have success for another, who knows how many. But I think it begins again with 2024. Excellent draft. You know what I say though is this. I thought that the Lions needed to grab 2 really good, impactful players this year. Just 2. That's all we really needed. Defensive back. I would love to have seen an edge rusher. It's not the end of the world. There's things that we don't know about, Matthew Betts. There's things that we just don't know. There's things that we don't know about. Allergies going on today. We just don't know about Marcus Davenport. Like, is he going to have a bounce back season? I would say our edge rushers are okay. Aiden obviously is an animal. And as long as you get somebody marginally good on the outside, on the right side, and if they start floating Aiden back and forth and DJ Reader's able to step up, I mean, our defensive line was second or third in stopping the run last year. We just got to do it again. You stop the run, and now you have the corners to shut down the pass. So I think when you combine those 2 efforts, shut the run down, build the back end of the defense so you can shut the pass down. They're never going to really fully shut it down. I mean, we're going to be coming from 30th ranked pass defense in 2023. As long as we can get up into the top 15 this year for pass defense, and if we can finish again somewhere in the top 5 in run defense, you've got a top 10 defense. Top 10 defense will win a Super Bowl in this league. And I think that's, what you have to take into consideration here is how much better do we really have to get? Last year, I said we were probably 2 or 3 points away on the defensive side of the ball from making it to the Super Bowl. And I'm not talking about the title game. I'm talking about defensive ranking points. We were just a couple of points away. I think we finished right around 19. If we could have just been in the top 15, I think that we would have probably won one more game and probably would have been able to have all of the home games during the playoffs, including the title game, because it would have shifted things a little bit. Excellent draft so far. All right, what do you guys got to say here? Thomas Taylor says he'll probably move to guard. I mean, it doesn't look like that he has very quick feet, but I love the prospect. Good take. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys, especially later mid rounds, to your point, a lot of them are going to move to guard initially. I have not looked at Manu a ton, but I'll be diving into it. Obviously, tomorrow is a big day for me, even though it's going to be kind of quick. But tomorrow's a big day. And then once I settle back in by Monday, I'll start breaking videos down. We'll get videos launching up again. Get 2 or 3 of them out a day. Mike Burgess, Manu is a huge offensive lineman. Great pick in the 4th round. Anybody know what we gave up? And it was a 3rd round pick next year, which we only had 1 next year. Would have loved to have seen the extra 4th round pick that we got from Philly go. The Jets did what they did. So we got Manu, Rob Newsom. Manu, big fella from British Columbia. We gave up a 3rd to move up, but you're going from 5th to 4th round. Where was our pick? We were at like 160 something. So, I mean, we moved up an entire round, and going from 5th to the 4th. Yeah, I'd say it probably was worth a 3rd. I think it would have been better to, for a 4th, but it is what it is. Brad knows something, man. He knows something about this guy. Hey, there's Tony Bonifero. Coach B says this guy is an absolute monster. Definitely some concerns coming from the CLS football to the NFL, though. There's no comparison in terms of competition. To give you an idea, a team in the MAC would destroy any team in the CLS. I think that says CLS. And now the Lions traded a third-round pick for him for next year. Not saying it's a bad pick, but definitely something that needs to be considered. So I hear you. The competition obviously is a bit different. Where did Manu go to school? Does anybody have that answer? So give me 1 second here. Look up a couple of things. Manu. Where are you? Now, we do know this, though. The Lions, they love their players. They know who they want. And Brad Holmes said that, some of these guys that are coming from the other leagues, they have a very selective testing protocol. So like Mathieu Betts, he said that there was a bunch of different things that they put him through to kind of ensure that he can do it. Now, his measurables are fine. The way that he tested out was fine. His speed seems to be off the hook, right, for Mathieu Betts. I would imagine they did a lot of the same things for Giovanni Manu when they brought him in and put him through some of the testing protocols. They're maybe a little bit different or above what the combine does to say, okay, does he have at least what it takes from, one, the measurable standpoint? Solid. Strength standpoint, the guy's just massive. I mean, he's a very strong individual. And then from a nimbility standpoint is what I call it, is he nimble on his feet? Can he move around? Can he pull and get up to the next level if he does sit in at a guard position? Those are going to be the questions that only the Lions are going to be able to answer during their testing protocols. We'll obviously be able to see some of it this summer in camp. I trust Brad. I have to. He has not steered us wrong a whole lot. I know a lot of people don't like the Broderick Martin pick from last year. He was never going to play. We had 4 guys that we got that were impact players to start that draft. Hendon Hooker was a developmental prospect, and so was Broderick Martin. You really can't expect a lot of guys after the 4th round to really do much for you anyway. It doesn't happen often. Yeah, you get your straggler. You get your one guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, that just pops off. You'll get your 5th, your 6th, your 7th round guy that just completely lights it up, Puka Nacua. But how many more are there? Not many. Not many over the course of the NFL's history. So anything after the 3rd round, to me, they're just bonus prospects. Hopefully, 1 or 2 of them here or there work out for you. That's what I think we're looking at with this guy. Is can he work out? Can he be an improvement over what we have already? So Manu went to the University of British Columbia. So, the talent that he's gone up against may not have been the greatest. Lions have another pick at 132. That's right. Is Brendan Rice still on the board? You've got to be kidding me if he's still on the board. Hold on here. I don't have anything on TV right now. It's a damn commercial. I'm sure Betts probably went up against Manu. I think Tony might be able to answer that. I don't know anything about the Canadian Football League and how that all works out. Don't spill it yet. If you guys know, don't throw it in. I'll wait till it comes back on here. So again, congratulations on Detroit smashing the NFL record for draft attendance all 3 days and the overall record. I mean, that's just what we're about, right? Detroit Lions fans, we show up. This is why I said it last year at this time, almost exactly at this time. The Detroit Lions are great for football business in the NFL. Great. Not good, great. Because we are such a loyal fan base. If you put the Detroit Lions in any sort of a conversation of competing, and winning, you're going to see an explosion in wallets being emptied. And I know that it's not just about money, but to the NFL, I think a lot of what they do is just about money. You know, from a fan's perspective, from Lions perspective, being a fan myself, it's not about the money. It's about showing up for your team. Just happens to include being a very expensive way to support your team by traveling or going to games, you know, or buying jerseys or giving 5 jerseys away. There's a lot of money involved in the NFL. And, you know, if the Lions are a good football product, I really believe that it'll change the dynamic of the NFL in a great way. I know they've had some pretty darn successful franchises over the many years that the NFL has been around, but they have never really seen the Lions be that successful franchise during the Super Bowl era. And I really believe that it will change the game financially for the NFL. I really do. Lions traded 3 picks for 2 picks. I'm good with it. I'm absolutely good with it. If Brad knows what he's doing, which I'm sure he does, I really don't like this delay. So you guys already know the pick. What are you watching it on? Because I've just got it on the NFL Network. Craig Hogg says Detroit will always be my home. You know, it's hard. It's hard to leave Michigan and not always love Michigan. Like your heart's always going to be attached to it. All right, let's see here. Who do we got? J-Rod, I hope you just didn't give it away. Yeah, I've had nothing but ads too. It's like the pick is in for Detroit and it goes to like 20-minute delay. I seen an exodus of fans happening, and then it was like, you know, they all turned around and started coming back. You know what's real fun to watch is the camaraderie between, you know, NFC North foes at this event. All right, here we go. Who is this person? Come on, Brad, let's go. Yes. Yes. The guy I said that was coming to Motown is in Motown. Sione Vaki, one of the best safeties in this draft, and a running back. This guy projects so well to the Detroit Lions. Not only is he going to help out the back end of this defense, but he's also going to give us a lot of versatility now on offense, someone that can tote the rock. I would not be surprised at all if he's going to be utilized in some kickoff situations. Perfect pick, Brad Holmes. Just secured the back end of this defense for a very long time. He has now tripled down on defensive backs in this draft. Excellent pick. Love this kid. You guys knew that I love this kid. The way that, I did a video on him. We spoke about him. We love him. This is an awesome pick. Great job. Again, Detroit Lions bringing in a baller, finding him late in the draft. I never expected Sione Vaki to slip this far. This is exciting. He can return kicks. I don't know how many that he, really did in college, but he's got decent speed. I think he runs right around a 4 or 5 ish, but he plays a lot faster than what he's recorded, at like a combine, type setting. So Sione Vaki, let me pull up some of his stats here. Utah Utes. So in 2023, career stats here, 2023, 2 sacks, 1 interception, 2022, No interception, no sacks, but it's the offensive side of the ball that I really love for this kid. So he started toting the rock due to injury, and he completely just went off. Well, where's his here we go. Here's his overall stats. So rushing in 2023, he had 42 carries, 317 yards, 7.5 yard average, 2 TDs, and that was like in 5 games or 4 games or something like that. So the minute he started picking up the rock, now he doesn't want to be a running back in the NFL. He already said that. But the fact that the guy totes the rock well makes me excited. And those are some of the stats that I had shown you guys, or some of the videos that I had shown you guys in the video that I did. I would love to pull that back up. Matter of fact, I wonder if I can. Let me see if I can pull up my own video. Let's see. Sione Vaki. Here it is. If you guys want to embellish me for just a moment, let's see what I had to say about Sione Vaki just a couple of months ago. Or I'm sorry, a few weeks ago. Watch me get copyrighted on my own video. Wouldn't that be funny? All right, here we go. Let's see what I had to say about Sione Vaki. Yup, J-Rod, you hit the nail on the head. Another Swiss Army knife. There's Uper Lights. Dude, you've been talking about this guy for a month. Yes, sir. We get a couple of things right here at Rockdown Podcast
Okay,
Network.
we're breaking into our first safety today, Sione Vaki. And this guy is quite electric. You're going to love his highlights here in the second half of this video. And I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with him. I'm just worried about his length. I think his length is going to be a little bit of a problem for him at the next level. And I think when you talk about aim small, miss small, that's exactly how I would define a safety or any corner, anybody, honestly, that has, a little bit shorter arms or smaller hands. They don't have the height, the range, the length of some of the other players. Now he has almost prototypical size as far as height and weight, but he's just lacking in the arms and the wingspan. And I think that's going to be a condition on which he's going to have to overcome. And he's done that for the majority of his career already. Where he's lacking or deficient in an area, he finds another area to excel at. So for all those reasons, I think that Sione Vaki is an absolute baller. This guy has a lot of great things about him, and we're going to talk about those right now. So first and foremost, Sione Vaki
you can tell that I'm having a tough day with the old thyroid missing, man. Those days suck.
Played for the Utah Utes. He measures at 5'11", 210 pounds, 29 and an eighth inch arms, 8 and 5/8 inch hands.
Got to keep swallowing.
He did not have the best athleticism score, but I got to tell you, 39 and a half inch vertical and a basically 10 and a half inch or 10 foot 5 inch broad. That's not, not athletic. That's very athletic. And I think where his shorter arms, he's going to make up for it in the vertical. He may not be able to extend with his arms, but between the jump and his arms, he should be able to get up and high point these contested catches. 40-yard dash, he was a little bit slower. I definitely didn't want to see Sione Vaki run a 4.62. Would have loved to have seen him closer to a 4.5. But his 10-yard split is not that far off from everybody else that ran, in that 4.5 neighborhood. Pretty strong kid, 20 reps on the bench. And, this guy plays like a bulldog, man. He loves to play. And you can tell. It's written all over him. NFL had this to say. They said he's a gamer who does whatever is necessary to.
So real quick here, the split is what matters. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that already. You can run a little bit slower in the 40, but if your split is pretty quick, that's that short area quickness and burst that you need to be able to stay sticky on the defensive back or on the wide receivers that you're covering or tight ends or whatever, and your closing distance, being able to close down hard on a tackle. So his split was pretty solid.
Help his team win. That is very evident in the tape. Vaki carries a thick frame with good upper body power and heavy hands. He took on carries to help his team when it was stung by injuries. Look, this guy's an absolute dog as a running back. The last half of the season when he had to play running back and fill in or take over the running back role and fill in, he had a combined 520 yards and just absolutely stunned me in his tape how fluid he was running the ball, catching the ball, route running, making guys miss. I mean, the guy has the skills to pay the bills, as they would say. And for that reason, and many others, I think that he is potentially on the radar for the Detroit Lions for a few reasons. But most notably, now that the kickoff rule has changed, we're looking for playmakers. We're looking for, guys that can play, defense and potentially offense at the same time, but guys that can contribute on defense or offense, but also on special teams is something that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell covets the most. And we've always found positions for players like Jason Kabinda when really he didn't help us on the offense at all. He was barely a blocker at times. But when you put him into special teams, he excelled. So I would rather see an extra safety on the team that can also run the ball and go out and catch a pass, also play special teams and be part of the defense. So for me, it makes more sense to do that. Extra linebacker, an extra tight end, an extra safety, not a fullback that you're not going to use anywhere else. So NFL.com for strengths had him as a very productive tackler with the nose for the ball.
So Harley Fife, we just drafted Sione Vaki, safety that I projected that was going to be on the Lions' radar in this draft. I want to say that I expected him to be off the board by round 3. So the fact that the Lions just found him, where they did here, what was it, pick 132, I think? Absolute steal for this kid.
Works his eyes from quarterback to the route, heavy hands and has a jarring punch. Patient to launch tackle, tries only when he has target locked in. So I guess that kind of speaks to my aim small, miss small. NFL.com is not the reason why you guys are here. We want to know what this guy's all about and what are the things that could make this guy be a potential game changer at the next level, even though he's probably a 3rd round pick right now. I do believe that the fact that he is an extremely, extremely willing hitter and tackler in this game, and NFL.com mentioned his eyes. I too mentioned his eyes multiple times in the video. He's consistently watching the quarterback and what that quarterback is going to do. And it helps him to make a decisive decision. It helps with his instincts because he's quick to react. He reads and reacts is how I call it. But he also watches the running back and he pays close attention to any receivers that he's covering. But he'll watch the running back and the quarterback working together. He keeps his eyes on the ball and you'll see him jump routes, fight through tackles. He just makes some incredible plays because his awareness level is a level 10. His vision is insane. His instincts are through the roof. He jumps routes like he knows the snap count. So for all of those reasons, his deficiencies in his arms are getting made up in other areas. And that's all of those things that I just mentioned. His instincts, his awareness, his vision.
I agree with that, Rob.
Pit bull on the field. He's just a nasty hitter. He's a thumper.
Is that
he kind of reminds me of Miles Killebrew, but better. Like Miles Killebrew was a thumper out there on the field. And he loved to hit. He was a physical hitter. And Sione Vaki is exactly that too. So good strength at making the tackle. His peers refer to him as an overachiever, somebody that's always willing to go the extra mile. And that's an exact replica of what you're looking for from Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Is they want somebody that is willing to put the work in and earn it, right? You hear it all the time. And Sione Vaki is that type of an individual. Ball skills, very good. And you'll see that in the tape as well. Even though he only had 2 interceptions over the last 2 seasons, he can make a play for an interception as needed. He wasn't targeted a whole lot, but he's always in position to make a play up on the line of scrimmage, down in the box, where he was utilized more off the edge.
You guys know that I actually don't drink the coffee that's bought, right? It's just a way to donate. I do buy coffee, don't get me wrong. And we are going to give away some coffee once my coffee bags are made. But that's funny, Craig. That's hilarious.
Quarterback. And I think he had like 8 tackles for loss this last season and 59 tackles. It's something crazy like that. So, I see him projecting more as, a slot nickel, safety. Either he's up in the slot as a corner or he's, running the nickel as a safety. And I think that's a perfect position for him. But again, that's somebody that does project pretty highly in special teams and someone that can be utilized now in a short area where you're going to need more speed and strength on special teams as opposed to all speed or all strength. So I think that,
now, thanks, Craig.
Sione Vaki could find his way onto the Detroit Lions roster here come April. The only weaknesses that I really found for him is majority of the time last season, Vaki was able to play very physical and overwhelm, all the opposing receivers early in the downs. But that's not really a scenario I believe is going to play out a whole lot in the NFL. And Draft Buzz kind of felt similar in that regard. He's going to be going up against much bigger opponents. And I don't think he's going to be able to manhandle them as easily as he did with Utah. And that's simply because his arm length will not allow him to get inside and jam with length. These receivers are going to be able to keep him away. So that's probably my biggest concern is, how is he going to get up in these receivers' face if he doesn't have the length to do it? So he's going to have to be used more of an off man, not press man type of corner or safety, if you will. So we'll see. We'll see where it projects. We'll see how how he grows and develops. But he's got all of the makings of somebody that can really explode onto the scene and surprise a lot of people because of the way that he plays the game. Very clean, successful in everything that he's done, whether it's running back, or back at safety, highly successful. He wants to stay at safety. I realize that, but it'd be good for him to stay multiple, versatile, and just do whatever he can do to make a roster and get some playing time, because that's going to be the most important thing for his career to develop and have more opportunity to play safety. Now, nickel. We talk about nickel because we've got Brian Branch in the nickel. So this would be another option that you bring in where you have Amik Robertson that could be the slot corner or the left corner. Carlton Davis could be the right corner, or you could flip-flop potentially. And then you got a guy like Sione Vaki that can now man the nickel where Brian Branch can go back to free safety if needed. So it would just give you a lot of positional versatility. You got guys that can do multiple things. I would still like to see the Lions pick up another corner in the draft outside of a safety. So I don't know if it's going to make sense. That's probably my only other drawback here is if they take a corner early, they may not take a safety in the 3rd or 4th round if they get a 4th round pick. So we'll see what happens there too. But anyway, let's get into the highlights. This will be the last time you see me in this video. So we'll see you guys tonight. Happens there too. But if they take a corner early, they may not take a safety in the 3rd or 4th round if they get a 4th round pick. So we'll see what happens there too. But anyway, let's get into the highlights. This will be the last time you see me in this video. So we'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Rock That Detroit Lions goes live with off. Dude's an animal.
Look how he just jumps these routes, man. So he was engaged, then he works right off. I just love it. Working his way down, reads it, pop. Where are you going? God, I love this kid. All right, so this one right there, I've got to comment on this one. So, I mean, this was perfectly executed technique by Vaki to get in, set the edge, and then work his way down the edge the way that he did and close in on the ball carrier. I love this play. Look at that. Sets it, moves his way down, makes first contact, trips him up, times the route, or times the snap. So versatile. Discipline is, I mean, come on, this kid's got it all day. You see how that discipline right there that I'm talking about? I mean, he watch it again here. So he stays in position, eyes the quarterback, watches for the ball carrier, and then pops up and grabs him. He didn't bite. A lot of players bite. Look at this now. Now the guy gets loose with it on offense. Doesn't look like a guy that runs a 4.62 or whatever it was, does it? This is on USC. Finish forward. See ya. I mean, isn't that just nuts? I mean, the kid is a safety. And look the way he just looked that ball in over his shoulder. I mean, I got to say it. Jameson Williams hasn't even done that yet. And I'm not expecting Jameson not to, but this guy is a safety and he's catching the ball like this. That is a tough catch. In traffic, had to reach behind. I mean, my goodness. And he just beats guys, man. You want to talk about a strong kid, too, though. I mean, he's got some arms on him. All right, enough of the gloating. What? Yeah, exactly. What an athlete, Craig. This is a perfect Detroit Lions pick. I read it. I saw it. I thought he'd project well to the Lions. Brad Holmes reaches up today. Not a reach, but, you know, he comes up and grabs him. So what's next in the draft here is the question for the rest of the day. Lions draft picks. Let me take a look here. I think someone posted it a minute ago. I don't know if the Lions are going to be done moving up, but I'm glad to see that Brad Holmes is moving off some future draft capital. We spoke about that too in the offseason. You know, we did a lot of homework this year. I spent a lot of time. You know, I know that my mock got busted to pieces in the first round, like everybody's, but when it comes to what the Lions were going to do this offseason and then what they were going to do in the draft, I think we were all pretty darn close. It was address the biggest need on the defense. Some said defensive end. Others said backfield. I've always stuck with the backfield, the defensive backs, because that was the worst part of our defense. They let up way too many pass plays. We were way too inconsistent. Too many explosive plays, over 20 yards. Finished 30th overall. You can't allow that to continue and expect to compete and win ball games, especially close ball games. Now, the Lions can feel confident over the next couple of seasons. The guys that they're drafting this year as a complete class, they are bringing in 3 DBs together. These guys are going to grow together, and that is huge. I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what this is going to look like in a few seasons. I really can't. These guys are going to be so well trained and knowing what each other does. That's where you see like the Legion of Boom, right? I mean, those guys, they knew what each other was thinking and what they were. Was it Cam Chancellor, Sherman? I've heard all of them speak to it. I think Quandre Diggs was on that squad too, if I remember. Was it that long ago? Maybe it was after or it was before Diggs. But they spoke to the fact that, you know, in the back part of the defense where you can't hear and nobody can see you because the rest of the defense is in front of you, that they literally have to communicate by looking at each other and almost reading their eyes. Like, you know, their communication signals have to be perfect because when you're like at Ford Field, defenses can't hear. They have no clue, right? They have no clue what's going on because we're so damn loud. So they have to be on point together. So you bring them all in together, you develop them all together, and they're going to play well together. So I think it's incredible. Stiggers could be up next. That was a good shout out too by Uper Lights. Stiggers is still on the board, guys. If we bring in a fourth DB, I would be extremely shocked. But then again, man, this is Brad Holmes we're talking about. Is he going to overload this defensive back room and you know, might see a couple of guys drop out? I don't know, man. I don't know. We might be keeping more than what we did last year. That could be a possibility. So what do we have left for remaining picks? Looks like what 164, 201, 205, 249. So we should have what 201, 205, and 249 left. Is that where we're at? I think so. And the draft right now is at pick 140. Let's see here. Is that accurate? Do you guys know? We got what 201, 205, and 249. Oh, now we got 205, 210, 249. Okay, after the trades. Gotcha. Thank you. Man, what do we have for next year though? What picks do we have next year? So the Detroit Lions entered day 3 of the NFL draft with none of the day's first 63 picks. And so far they left with 2 players in the 4th round. Minutes after trading a 2025 third-round pick to the New York Jets for the right to select developmental offensive tackle Giovanni Manu at pick 126, the Lions general manager Brad Holmes swung a deal with the Philadelphia Eagles to then take Utah safety Sione Vaki at pick 132. The Lions gave up picks 164 and 201 in rounds 5 and 6. Ooh, we gave up the 4th round choice in 2025 in the deal. So did Philly get their 4th round pick back? I think I called that too, that Philly would probably want their 4th round pick back. We made a deal with them. So that means we've lost a 3rd and a 4th next year so far. I guess I'm not mad at it. And I'm definitely not mad at the 5th and the 6th round choices here that we're giving up to get players like this. Vaki's going to immediately compete, and it's going to be with Kirby Joseph. I think if Yatu Melifonwu definitely has the lead here. And well, I don't know. I guess, you know, maybe Sione Vaki would project more as a strong safety. He could. I'd have to go back and watch him a little bit closer to see if he's going to project more as a strong, you know, versus a free safety. But either way, you're adding talent to a room that needed the talent. A little bit here on Manu, 6'7", 350 pounds, is considered a developmental prospect and one of the most unique talents in the draft. He ran a 4.96 second 40-yard dash. Wow. He began his athletic career as a rugby player growing up in Tonga in the South Pacific Islands. Very interesting. Can't wait to hopefully meet the dude someday. Kicker, I think that we could use a kicker. Someone mentioned kick returner. I think the Lions could still target a kicker in this draft. Michael Luces, I can't remember how you pronounce your last name, buddy. And I did get your message the other day. I'm just kind of under the gun right now. So we got 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 7th next year. So we got 2 6th, 2 7th, a 1st. So we're only missing a 3rd. Yeah, we're solid. We are solid next year. Because then if you look at the year after that in 2026, we can end up trading some future draft capital to move up next year. So Brad's got us right on pace, man. Good call, Michael. Thanks for keeping all that in order. I'm not sure if any kickers have been taken yet. Let's take a look. I think there was a punter that was taken earlier. if I remember hearing that correctly. Place kickers. So you still have Joshua Carty, Will Reichard or Richard, Cam Little, and Harrison Mevis. So none of them have been taken. I would have to say, though, that it's going to be soon. It's going to have to be soon. Ooh, Cedric Van Prawn just went to the Buffalo Bills center. That's a good pickup. Cedric, I think when he was on my list, I think he was an arm casualty on my board. Of course, I get them all mixed up, man. I've looked at so many different prospects now. But what a call by Brad Holmes. So here it is, over under. Are the Lions going to move back up again in this draft? I mean, if you think about it, could we not realistically now get rid of, and thanks to Michael for posting that, a 6th round pick and a 7th round pick next year, and our last pick of the draft this year, and move back up? You absolutely could. Absolutely. So is there somebody else that's still on this board? Let's take a look. If we were to now look at edge rusher, let's just say the edge rusher is the position. I can't believe that Austin Booker is still there, but at the same time, the one thing that I said about the guy is that he was too lean. He didn't really have a whole lot of power, in my opinion. But if you look at the guys that are still available, Gabriel Murphy was high on my list. By the way that he graded out, Javon Solomon, Nelson Caesar was actually pretty decent, but you still got Jalen Harrell that's still available from U of M. And I would say that, you know, between all 4 of them and Solomon Bird, you still have some pretty decent edge rushers left on this board. I think Terrion Arnold's number 1. It's already out. I pre-ordered the jersey last night. Is it true that we will be getting comp picks for CJ Gardner? No. We shouldn't be getting any. At least from the way that I understand it, based on what we lost and what we brought in, we shouldn't be getting any because we brought in Zeitler. Who else did we bring in that's going to conflict with that? When we didn't lose Graham. Who else did we bring in? Why is my mind running blank right now? Well, we brought in Carlton. We brought in Amik. So if anything, I think we gained more than we lost, to be honest with you. I mean, we lost Reynolds, but yeah, I don't think that we're going to be getting any comp picks next year. Yeah, you would think that Jonah would, Del Rey, but there's kind of a formula. It's based on who you lose, like how much you lose, and then how much you bring in free agency. And if you were to compare the two, I think the Lions have the edge on what they brought in versus what they lost. The last I read, anyway. No, Nelson Caesar's still on the board. To answer your question there, Rob. So here's what we got for edge rushers. You got Austin Booker, who's at the top of the list so far. Brennan Jackson, Cedric Johnson, Mohamed Kamara. I do like Kamara too. You've got Gabe Hall, Miles Cole, Gabriel Murphy, Javon Solomon, Trajan Jeffcoat, Nelson Caesar, Jalen Harrell, Javante Jean Baptiste. Let's see. Solomon Bird. We got the Ovi Ogufu. So if I were to look at this realistically, I would say that there's a good fit here for Mohamed Kamara, potential, Gabe Murphy, Javon Solomon, Nelson Caesar, and Solomon Bird. I think those 5 are potential Lions options later here in the 5th round or 6th round. I didn't hear him say anything about his number in the interview. I just went on Fanatics and they already had the jersey up at number. He was number 1. And I mentioned that yesterday. I can't remember who, but I thought it was kind of interesting that the Lions picked up Terry and Arnold, who becomes the number one number on his jersey, and Jameson Williams didn't take number 1. I thought I was going to do this wild video about conspiracy. Like, was this really a planned? Was this all really planned? You know what I mean? Like the way that the draft kind of went, because why wouldn't Jameson take number 1 when it was available? I realize he's got to buy out all of his old jerseys and all that stuff too, but I just found that kind of interesting that then, Terry and Arnold becomes the number 1. Blue was the only one that was available. Yeah, I'm really shocked too. Electric and Bluetooth Lions. I'm really shocked too about Brennan Rice. So there's obviously something that we don't know. And I mean, there's a lot that I don't know, but when it comes to these prospects and why they're slipping, this is where you got that, book that each of these teams have on every single one of these players, from their medical, obviously their criminal record. I mean, everything that they have. And we obviously don't have it all. So give me just a second. I actually got to send an email out real quick. Totally forgot to handle something. One sec. So anyway, over or under. Do the Lions pick up another pick early? Do we trade back up again? Let's see here. Man, it's warm and muggy today. All right, just got to attach this video real quick. One second, you guys. I apologize. Okay. All right. So before I jump off here, I just want to remind everybody that was in the jersey giveaway this past Wednesday. Those 4 jersey gift cards, $150 a piece, went out today. We finally got things cleared up with Fanatics and NFLshop.com. Had nothing but issues. Both sides was a problem. They were flagging everything. So if you want a jersey this past Wednesday, your gift card is in your inbox right now. This time it's accurate. I got the email back that everything went out. So Elizabeth LaValle, I think it's Doug Pilarski, Jack DeWeird, Better the Hunt has already received his jersey. And then we had one other one, which was Jared Semmelbauer. So all of you guys that participated in the giveaway, also want to let you guys know that I kind of worked with Pro Sports Zone in Livonia in Michigan. If you guys have not been out to that store, if you live anywhere near it, highly recommend you go in there. It's an amazing store. They do an amazing job. They have just about everything you could think of that you really want for all of the local teams, professional and college. Now we have worked out 24 mini helmets signed by Panay Sewell and Chris Spielman. They'll be coming to Pro Sports Zone here in May, I believe. So if you don't know what a mini helmet is, I got this one yesterday from Billy Sims. So we'll have 24 of mini helmets of all Lions helmets that are now going to be a part of our giveaways for the rest of the year. So every 500 subscribers, if you guys have not subscribed, I would urge you to do so because only subscribers can win. We will do some raffles and stuff like that too. But I would urge you to subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot of great content. I've got an interview tomorrow morning with Billy Sims, one-on-one. Finally, it's taken me a year to get this done, but we're going to get it done. And we're going to be giving out, a lot of cool stuff throughout the year. And we're trying to plan some sort of a summer gathering for Lions fans and get, the super fans there. We'll try to dress it up and do something. It's going to take a lot of work to get it done, but we're working on it. And summer's approaching fast. So I think we're going to plan on sometime in, late June, early mid-July, somewhere in there. We're going to try to throw something together, get Lions fans together, and just enjoy, a nice fun-filled day or two of camping and grilling and whatever. I think camping would probably be the best thing to do. So we'll have to, get people to put their deposits down with the campground if that's what we decide to do. That way people are safe. I'm sure there'll be plenty of spirits and things flying around. So I want to make sure that people are safe and not driving. I definitely don't want to be responsible for any of that. So I love it, guys. You guys have been great. Look, man, these Lions are on fire, guys. Trust in Brad Holmes. I don't care what anybody else says. Brad is doing an excellent job. The Lions are doing an excellent job. They have secured us what is probably going to be I can say it now for the second season in a row. On paper, this might be the best defensive backfield in the league on paper. Obviously, that's not going to be the case because there's a lot of work that has to get done. So if we're even anywhere close to a top 15 by the end of this next season, I would be ecstatic. That would be a huge improvement. But think about this. Even as the 30th worst passing defense in the league this last season, they still made some incredible plays. They still showed up sometimes, to make some pretty big plays. They also fell apart more than they should have and let up a lot of big plays. So adding some, bona fide dogs to this team, the Lions are not screwing around. They want to attack the deficiencies and attack it hard and often. And that's what they're doing. So excellent job by the Detroit Lions. I'm excited to see what we're going to do next. And man, who's it going to be? Did I miss anything? Let me go back to some of your guys' comments here. Rob Newsom, I really wanted Marshawn Nealand, but he got taken in the 50s. Yeah, I really like Nealand, man. I really did. I didn't know if the Lions were going to have a shot, really, because we didn't have a pick that was close. And I think that when Brad Holmes addressed, the community the other day in his press conference, he said, there were some guys that got taken, and that's why they did what they did by moving up. And I firmly believe that with the players that were taken just before, that it only made sense. The edge rusher was probably on the list instead of Rakestraw. But when you had those players, I can't remember all of them that went, but Nealand was one of them. I think that Braden Fisk was one of them. But at any rate, we can go back and look at it. The thing is I think that once those players were gone and off the board, Brad had to go to his next best. And that was Rakestraw. And like he said, they didn't plan on taking two guys back to back like that. The fact that they did, and the fact that he told us that Rakestraw was his second, those were their top two guys. That was the second, DB on the board for them. That really speaks volumes to the type of work that they put in this year on bringing in all these DBs to make sure that they were going to fit if they had to pivot and do something like they did yesterday. So Let's see here. Before Rakestraw, you had Javon Bullard, safety, Chris Braswell, edge, Marshawn Nealon, edge, and Michael Hall, defensive tackle. I think that it was, and you even had Zach Frazier a couple of picks before that. So I think that because Zach Frazier was gone, Michael Hall was gone, Patrick Paul, even offensive tackle, Marshawn Nealon, Chris Braswell, and even Javon Bullard and Braden, or Blake Frisker, offensive tackle. Enos Rakestraw made sense. And it makes sense now that we're building out the back of this defense to be able to compete with anybody. And we're going to have to compete. Look, this NFC North, it's getting tough. A lot of great draft picks going to these teams here in the NFC North. The Bears didn't screw around grabbing Rome Odunze. We got to have players that can stop these guys. So what number, as far as you talking J-Rod, what number, like jersey number? I have no idea. All of that stuff will change, during or after camp. Jack2125 says, what do you see the Lions drafting now by position? Jaster, what's up, buddy? How you doing? I'm actually getting ready to jump off, Jaster. So as far as who do I see, left on the board, and who do I see the Lions being potentially interested in? Let me pull that screen back up here so I can walk through it real quick. If it were going to be an edge rusher, if the Lions were still going to have a shot at an edge rusher, which they do, I would say that you got Muhammad Kamara, Gabriel Murphy, Javon Solomon, Nelson Caesar as my top 4 guys, and Jalen Harrell even as my top 5 guys for edge rusher. So there's still really good opportunity for the Lions to grab an edge rusher. Linebacker, I can't believe that Jeremiah Trotter is still available. I really can't. Jalen Ford is still available. Who else? Linebackers. There's a couple other ones that I liked. Looks like they're gone. Must be gone. I'm not seeing the names. So if the Lions are thinking about drafting, a linebacker this year to kind of help beef it up a little bit and get somebody that's better in coverage and round out the linebacker room, Jalen Ford, I think, is a good pickup. Whether he's going to be available in the 200s or not, I don't know. We're at pick 146 right now. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. just went off the board to the Titans. And then let me move back here to defensive tackle. I don't think is a major need for the Lions, given, with what we have still. You got Levi Onwuzurike that they're hoping is going to enter this season healthy and stay healthy. You have Josh Pascal, who's a hybrid inside-outside defensive tackle edge. They're hoping that he's going to remain healthy this year, finally, in his, their 3rd season. And then, of course, you got DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil and Broderick Martin to back him up. You got 5 guys right there. I don't see the Lions making a big move for a defensive tackle unless it was earlier in the draft and it made a lot of sense. I still think that we need a center and somebody that can also play guard. Now that we've grabbed an offensive tackle that could maybe project down to guard, I'd have to dig more into Manu. He might be a little bit too slow, too big to play guard. I know that sounds funny, but you can actually be too good to be, or too big to be a guard. Hunter Norzad is someone that I did project to the Lions this year later in the rounds. And I think I had him going somewhere around the 4th or 5th to the Lions, and he's still available right now. I do like Norzad. He's 6'3", 317, so he's kind of teetering right at that bottom end of height, where I do believe he could be a pretty good impact player for the Lions as a guard and also learn from Ragnow this year. And in case we needed an extra center, he would be perfect because that's what he is a center. Mike Purchase, great question. So that's through Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Me a Coffee is the program that I use. There's links in the description. And just so we're clear, Mike, the money it comes to me and my channel, but it goes back to you. So that's what all of the giveaways are. All of the money that comes in That's what it's used for. So whenever you donate or contribute to Rock Down Podcast Network and any of our channels that will be out there on YouTube, the money is 100% used for the fans. It's not used for me. It may pay like like a streaming service or something, but that's about it. It doesn't go to us. So center, I do like Hunter Norzad, but after that, I really don't see the Lions grabbing somebody unless it's really late, like Drake Nugent. He's still on the board, and he's a pretty darn good center. I don't know why he's still on the board. I think that did he have arm issues? Does anybody remember? I can't remember now if he had arm issues, and that could be why he's slipping a little bit. Tight ends. So where'd my guy go? Where'd Theo go? Does anybody know? Who got Theo? Oh, the Giants got him at 107. Oh boy. I'll be interested to break all this back down and review what I did in my pre-draft party and everything that I wrote about to see where the tight ends went. All right, J-Rod, we'll see you. So let's see. Wide receiver, you still got Brendan Rice. I still think the receiver is an option for the Lions. I do not think that Brendan Rice is going to make it to the 200s. I would be extremely surprised. I'm extremely surprised that he's lasted this long, to be honest with you. So is there a character flaw here? Do they not like his dad because his dad says things? I don't know. But sometimes you just don't want that infection in the locker room, whatever it is, if there is one. And sometimes, your parents can actually hurt your draft stock. It does happen. Some players, some franchises just don't want to deal with it. Sometimes things are bigger than the player themselves. So I would say, look, edge, center guard, and wide receiver should be on the Lions list. They only have a couple of picks left. And then you've got kicker. Look, if they can end up with a good kicker, I would be happy with that. And they might have to do it next. They might have to do it next pick just to ensure that they get the kicker they want. They might take them early, and I'm fine with that. If they take a kicker with their next pick, I'm all good. But those are the four positions that I think would project best to the Lions still to round out this draft. Oh, Nugent's arms are fine. Then 33 that's perfectly fine for a center. Yeah, Peter, the huge gap in picks really it hurt us, but at the same time, it didn't because Brad moved around. The only thing that it hurt was our future draft capital, in my opinion. But when you look at, and thanks to Michael for posting it, our future draft capital is pretty good. We're only missing a 3rd round pick next year. We still have all of our picks. We gave Philly's pick back. We lost a 3rd round pick, but now we got 2 7 rounders, 2 6 rounders, and then a 1st, a 2nd, a 4th, and a 5th. So we're set up nice for 2025. We're ready to rock. And 2026 is still all there. So we have plenty of draft capital to move around and make more trades next year because that we're not going to be picking early in the draft. I guarantee it. Yeah, exactly. At 249, it doesn't really matter at 249. I think a kicker would be the pick there. If you don't take him even earlier than that, I wouldn't be mad. Like, just take a kicker now and be done with it. That's just how I look at it. And Jester, yeah, no, I don't think we're getting any comp picks, buddy. I don't know who keeps reporting that, but you have to look at the formula. The Lions gained way more than they lost. So as of March 2024, it says the Lions appear unlikely to get any compensatory picks in 2025, even with the losses of Jonah Jackson and Gardner Johnson are offset by the additions of Reeder, Davenport, and Zietler. Of course, that changes if the Lions have a minority staffer hired away for a head coaching or top executive position, which they did not. So the formula is simple yet very convoluted. Let's say you lose a third round, a guy that was drafted in the third round, and then you bring in a guy that was drafted in the third round. Well, they should wash, right? They should equal out. But it also goes down to how much playing time they had, how much playing time they've had in their career. I think compensation, as far as how much they get paid, their salary has something to do with it too. And I think they even do something with production. But there's no comp picks that are supposed to happen next year. Comp picks are directly related to, the players you lose and then the players you bring in. But there's a lot to, to kind of sift through to evaluate the comp picks. But from what this article states, there's no chance that they're going to get a comp pick. We brought in more than what we lost. I would love to get a comp pick. We haven't had a comp pick in 4 seasons. It's been crazy. It's because, the one, Brad doesn't really bring in free agents, and we didn't lose a whole lot of guys. And that's part of it, that if you're not bringing in or losing big time free agents, signing all these guys to 1-year deals kind of hurts that. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, unless something pops off, I won't be back on today. I've got to get prepared, head back to Detroit, get ready for tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys joining me for, I don't know, was it been an hour or so? Lions are on the move, man, making big moves. Brad Holmes is setting this team up right for the coming seasons, and I'm excited. So way to go. Good job, Lions. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.